Hey, go getters. How are you? How are things going? How has the past few months been? We're going to be talking about how hosting in person events really impacted and changed my perspective on business and even how the topic of business operations or customer experience. So, I want to pull back a little bit of this curtain and share what it was for me hosting my first in person business event. And if you've ever thought about hosting in-person events or maybe stepping outside your comfort zone, well, this is for you, and you are here with your girl tonight, and we're going to talk through that. So I like to always get into maybe about 3 topics tonight. And the first one is going to be, well, why did I even decide to host an in-person event? I love to give this analogy of when I started Virtually Centered Solutions. I literally was like, okay, I could stay behind my computer. It's a virtual-based business. I don't need to drink the Kool-Aid of anything else and go out and mingle with people. But something I've realized over the years is that doing that actually suppressed a little bit of me, of my personality, of who I was. And so what inspired it is because being in the tech realm, you hear people go to workshops, you hear people go to different training events, and we get excited, we get motivated because that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to motivate change and get us inspired. But then we don't take action. And if you've been around since the beginning, you know that Virtually Centered Solutions was one of the core pillars is collaboration and just taking action. And so I actually used to host virtual co-working sessions, and a part of that was the action piece and creating community and space for people to actually take and move the needle. And so with that being said, in hosting these events, I got like a behind the scenes experience of what some of the challenges could be with deepening relationships with your audience. And I've always believed that great customer experience actually starts with connection. But hosting these events was a way to really take those relationships offline for me and make them a little bit more personable. If you've met me in person, I always love to say I love to have like you feel that you've experienced a fireside chat. So one of the events that I did was a legit like fireside chat where we were not only there to have a little fun, but then it was also talking about setting up our businesses for the upcoming year and actually taking action, like being able to hold each other accountable and build community around that. And I just saw it as an opportunity to test and refine also my business processes. So for me, I felt like hosting these events required organization, clear communication, and that attention to detail. And it's all the things that are so critical in our daily operations. So I actually wanted to create this experience with attendees, and I wanted them to feel the care, feel the inspired, and from the start to the finish to extending beyond that. And to me, that's what great customer experience is all about. And so when I still go through nulling through creating the event, actually having it, I think of planning it. And let me tell you, there were some highs and there were some lows. So planning the event was like running a mini business. I thought it involved setting up workflows, managing vendors, and ensuring just really like it was just going to be this seamless process. But it was not. Even for me as a planner, I had to kind of go back to basics. And I also had to rely on some of those that are very close to me, because what happened was because of my analytical or process-oriented brain, it was holding me back from taking quick action. And so I had different people in my business space that, one, made me set the date, allowed the tools not to be a barrier for me getting stuff done. It was taking messy but bold action because it was more about serving the attendees and being able to create this environment that I envisioned. And so I created a simple checklist that had different things on it, like booking the venue, finalizing the agenda, and really getting out some RSVPs. I got to be honest, I struggled a bit with marketing the event. And I think a part of it was a lot of life was happening. I was gratefully booked for quite a few speaking engagements and, let's face it, other behind the scenes business stuff that were happening. And so to me, that was a hiccup. But I want to shout out one of my business friends who literally said to me, do the event. And it was almost like she gave me permission to move past that fear of nobody's gonna come. And I started doing some direct outreach and created personal invites. Again, we go back to customer experience and understanding what those relationships are all about. And so even with those hiccups, that taught me the value of being agile and being able to have also reliable partners. So the lessons carried over really to not just how I handle client projects, but it also revolved around how we make more proactive and organized decisions in our business and in our day-to-day lives. So last but not least, I just want to talk about like actually having the experience and how delivering both experiences, even though they were serving the audience, they allowed me to just examine greater customer experiences. So one of the biggest takeaways for me was having attention to small details and how they can create big impressions. So one of the events I hosted, I sent an actual voice note because, again, if you've heard me in real life, you know, this isn't a fake tone. I get excited because I genuinely want to see people win, and it's a feeling for me. So I personalized a voice note and sent it to them to prepare for the event. And I wanted them to feel what I was feeling or make that little touch even before they entered the space. So I think even with that, it made such a difference. It kind of set the tone. And it also allowed me to realize this is exactly how we should treat every client interaction, whether it's onboarding, whether it's a new customer, or you're just wrapping up a project. Maybe you're thinking of a thoughtful touch to thank them, just making someone feel valued. For example, in our process, we incorporate thank you emails. Depending on the project, there may be a special gift for that client. And it's also just the small changes that I think make a huge impact on client retention and satisfaction. And that goes no different when it's an in-person experience. So another example of how we continued that retention or satisfaction is being able to send resources or follow-ups or offering different sessions to attendees after the event. Because the idea is whether it's just one-on-one or in community, it's about the experience. You know, go-getters, it was so good to be on with you tonight. I love to say I'm always cheering you on, and I love y'all.